Hello everyone. Today I want to share with you an emotional story about the life of a single mother named Ju Han. She is a model of resilience, love, and unconditional sacrifices. I'm sure that Ju Han's story will touch the hearts of anyone looking for motivation and hope in life. Every early morning, before the sunlight spreads, Ju Han wakes up to prepare breakfast for her son, Tom. For her, nothing is more precious than seeing her child being well taken care of, healthy and happy. Despite her incredibly busy and challenging daily life, her love for her son is the driving force that helps her overcome all obstacles. She knows that every day, every hour, and every minute spent with Tom is invaluable, and she will do everything she can to give him a good life. After Tom finishes his breakfast, Ju Han lets him play alone in the house while she begins her daily chores. Her first task is always feeding the chickens. She loves her chickens. They are an inseparable part of her life. Each chicken brings her a sense of peace, as if they are dear friends she can talk to and share her thoughts with. But her work on the farm doesn't stop with feeding the chickens. When she steps outside to the garden, the sight she sees is a patch of wild grass growing wildly, covering the path. Without hesitation, Ju Han begins the task of clearing the grass. Although this work is very laborious and time-consuming, she never complains. She understands that the green garden will bring fresh, clean air to her home, and that is important to her, not just for the health of her family, but also for her soul to relax every time she works in that garden. There are days when she feels tired, and sometimes she wonders if she can continue with this tough job. But then, when she looks into Tom's innocent eyes, she finds a new strength. The boy is her biggest motivation, the reason she keeps going through all the hardships. Tom is an intelligent and affectionate child, and even though he's still young, he understands that his mother is doing everything she can to give him a full and warm life. Every day, Ju Han is not only a mother, but also a hard-working laborer, a strong woman willing to sacrifice everything for her child. She doesn't have much time to rest, but she never complains. To her, every task, no matter how big or small, has value and meaning. During her free time, she sits by the window looking out at the sky, her eyes dreamy, sometimes filled with tears. But she always reminds herself, no matter how hard it gets, she will never give up. After finishing the task of clearing the grass, Ju Han continued with her work for the day. She started stretching a line to measure accurately. Each step she took was very meticulous and careful. She scraped a little bit of earth, gently smoothing it out so that the ground became flat and ready for the bricks to be laid down. This task was not easy, because if she didn't get it right from the beginning, the path would not be durable and would lose the natural beauty she desired. Once the ground was prepared, Ju Han began placing each brick carefully, ensuring that each one was aligned and level with the others. Her hands moved gently and skillfully as she laid the bricks on the ground. She had to be patient, ensuring that not a single brick was out of place or misaligned. She knew that patience and precision were the most important elements in creating a beautiful, durable path. Gradually, a beautiful brick pathway began to emerge before her. This work took a lot of time and effort, but she felt immense pride when she saw the result of her labor. She stood up, tired, but with a deep sense of joy in her heart. It was the joy of a mother, a woman who had given her best to create a home for her family. She took a short break, sitting next to the path she had just completed. After resting, Ju Han continued her work. She picked up a broom and started sweeping the dirt off the newly made path. She wasn't in a hurry, and every motion was done with care and patience. Unexpectedly, while she was engrossed in her work, a figure appeared from the distance. Ju-han looked up and recognized it was Dan. He ran up and embraced her, as though he couldn't believe they had reunited after such a long time. Even though she was tired from the work, Han could still feel the warmth and sincerity of Dan's embrace. Dan looked at her, his eyes filled with surprise and emotion. He knew that, throughout the time apart, Ju-han had faced many challenges, yet she had remained strong and overcome every hardship. Ju-han simply smiled, not saying much. She was used to doing everything on her own without needing anyone's help. But when she heard Dan's words, she felt the empathy and support. Dan looked at the path that Ju-han had just completed, and he couldn't help but admire her effort and patience. He knew that, for Ju-han, nothing was impossible. Dan looked at her, his eyes shining with admiration and empathy. He didn't just see a strong woman, but also a mother full of love and sacrifice. Ju-han was a living proof that, no matter how difficult life gets, if we have enough strength and love, we can overcome anything. While Dan and Ju-han were chatting and exchanging intimate words, another figure quietly stood from afar, observing. It was Ta, Han's old friend. Han didn't want to interrupt their meeting, but seeing this scene, he couldn't help feeling a little disappointed and lonely. Especially when Dan was already there before him, this unexpected appearance made him feel like he no longer had the opportunity to step forward. Han stood there, thinking about quietly leaving, stepping aside so they could talk without his presence. But in that moment, his eyes fell upon the bowl of rice he had cooked for Han with his own hands. His emotions suddenly surged. A part of him still wanted to offer something to Han, to let her feel the care and affection he had for her. Han turned back, took the bowl of rice in his hand, and decided not to give up. He would go closer to her, even in this awkward situation. He walked toward Han, his mood a mix of confusion and determination. As Han approached, the atmosphere suddenly became a little tense. Both Dan and Han were mature men, with some pride and understanding, but also emotions that were hard to express. However, instead of letting the tension escalate, both began to tease each other humorously. Light-hearted jokes filled the air, making the atmosphere around them more comfortable and cheerful. Both Dan and Han couldn't help but smile, even laugh at the harmless teasing. Despite being rivals, they both respected each other and didn't let competition dominate their emotions. They knew that love wasn't a battle, but understanding and mutual respect. Han looked at the two men standing before her, each with their own story and emotions, but all focused on her. She could feel the sincerity in every action and word from both of them. And in that moment, she understood that, although life had its challenges, love and respect would always be the most important elements to help people overcome all obstacles. The three of them sat together, sharing peaceful moments in Han's small home. Laughter filled the room, and there was no longer any distance between the three men, only closeness and precious moments together. It was a part of life where love, respect, and understanding create a warm and happy space. But their story had only just begun. They didn't know that, in the journey ahead, each would have to face their own challenges. However, they were certain that love and respect would always be the solid foundation to help them weather any storm. And with every moment, they would build a beautiful future together, not only for themselves, but also for the ones they loved. So, what do you think about this story? Do you believe that love truly is the motivation to help us overcome all challenges? Please leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to click the like button if you find this story meaningful. We look forward to sharing more touching and meaningful stories with you in our upcoming videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Cả Danh và Thành đều không thể không mỉm cười, thậm chí là bật cười vì những lời trêu đùa vô hại. Mặc dù là tình địch, nhưng cả hai đều tôn trọng nhau và không để sự cạnh tranh chi phối cảm xúc của mình. Họ biết rằng tình yêu không phải cuộc chiến, mà là sự hiểu biết và tôn trọng lẫn nhau. Ân nhìn thấy hai người đàn ông đứng trước mặt, mỗi người đều có một câu chuyện và một cảm xúc riêng, nhưng tất cả đều tập trung vào cô. Cô cảm nhận được sự chân thành trong từng hành động và lời nói của cả hai. Và trong khoảnh khắc này, cô hiểu rằng dù cuộc sống có những lúc đầy thử thách, nhưng tình yêu và sự tôn trọng sẽ luôn là những yếu tố quan trọng nhất để giúp mọi người vượt qua mọi trở ngại. Cả ba cùng ngồi lại chia sẻ những khoảnh khắc bình yên trong ngôi nhà nhỏ của Hân. Tiếng cười vang lên, không còn khoảnh khắc giữa ba người đàn ông, mà còn là sự thân thiết và những khoảnh khắc quý giá bên nhau. Đó là một phần của cuộc sống, nơi mà tình yêu, sự tôn trọng và hiểu biết tạo nên một không gian ấm áp và hạnh phúc. Nhưng câu chuyện của họ chỉ mới bắt đầu. Họ không biết rằng trong hành trình phía trước, mỗi người sẽ phải đối mặt với những thử thách riêng. Nhưng họ chắc chắn rằng tình yêu và sự tôn trọng sẽ luôn là nền tảng vững chắc giúp họ vượt qua mọi sóng gió. Và với mỗi khoảnh khắc, họ sẽ cùng nhau xây dựng một tương lai đẹp, không chỉ cho họ mà cho những người mà họ yêu thương.